Hello and welcome to Sports Nexus, the sports business podcast. This is something that I wanted to do for a very long time, but it just couldn't happen because of too many elements. But here we are now. I'm here with you all, and as my first guest, I have a dear friend of mine from Bombay, great guy, and he works with the International Skating Union. His name is Ashley Arthingal, and Ashley, I'd love to welcome you to the podcast, the first one ever.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nilesh,
and thank you for being my first guest. They say, your podcast should always start with your friends and family, and you're my friend and family. So thank you for being on the podcast. And I think without further ado, I think I'll just let you introduce yourself to the listeners.
Thank you so much, Nilesh, for this opportunity. It's great to hear. First of all, I am really excited to do this. I know you for a very long time. And I know that you've had this in the works for quite a long time, and it is long overdue. But selecting me as your first speaker is putting a lot of pressure on me. So if the quality is bad, that's on you, bro. Firstly, so my name is Ashley Arthingal. I work for the International Skating Union. I was born and raised in Mumbai, and I'm currently residing in Lausanne, Switzerland, where I work for the ISU. And I was a lawyer for a couple of years in Mumbai, did a sports management course, and then moved to Lausanne, and here I am.
Oh, that's right. So you've given us a little bit about your journey, but how did this lad from Mumbai get to the ISU? I think a little elaborate story of your journey would be really interesting for the young listeners.
Okay. No, really. I mean, the journey has been quite fun, quite unique. It was lots of ups and downs, and it's really hard to speak about oneself without being obnoxious or ostentatious. And I still don't feel worthy of this opportunity, but here it goes. So, like I mentioned, like I was a boy from Mulund, like you, studied law, worked in a lot of internship gigs in Mumbai. And also worked in-house corporate. Never thought that I would leave India ever. So Switzerland is my first country that I left for. But going back, rewinding a bit, I started off doing some internships in litigation and intellectual property, and also in a broadcasting company, Reliance, which was the Big FM. And then I also worked in like an entry-level gig at Exceed Entertainment in the legal department, a celebrity management agency.
That's where we met.
Where I met you, where we've both worked. So and then I worked for an IT company as well as an assistant manager. Was there for almost 3 years, and then many years back when I was having these ups and downs in my career, I always wanted to work in sport, and through a sports lawyer, I got to know about this course in Lausanne, Switzerland, which is the AISTS, which is a program that is co-signed by University of Lausanne, the EPFL, and the International Olympic Committee, among others. So, of course, their criteria was to have someone who has some experience and who has some link in sports. So that's when I started, like while I was working as a lawyer, I started building up my affinity towards sport. It also boils down to the genes, to the genetics, because my dad himself being totally into sports, so he was part of the Maharashtra football team, and he played national level football, and he was also a national level track and field athlete.
Oh,
so
nice.
That's where I got the genes in terms of having the love and passion for the sport, but not really the skill. I was nowhere close to him, but that's where I had this. And growing up in a family that had a lot of athletes at a great level and always talking about sports, so there was always that affinity towards sports to somewhere or some way work in sport. So that also factored in a lot of the things. Like I mentioned, like there was a lot of ups and downs throughout my career. Like I started off with taking big L's, big hits, and that's how it is. The industry is like that, and you learn with every losses or every hits that you take, and researching about sport and trying to do more. and combining my passion for writing and
Yes.
the sport. So I started my own like freelance blog, and I started writing about sports and the law. And that's when I started building up a little bit. I started interviewing fan associations like amateur, semi-pro athletes, and a lot of other like organizations. And I was just doing it like not to earn anything, but just to keep that the flame of sport going. And that kind of appealed to the AISTS, and of course, by progressively getting better in law, by from different organizations to different, with in terms of understanding about complex commercial transactions, legal agreement, negotiation, reviews. Those kind of things also kind of built my profile to be appealing to the AISTS, which I eventually joined. And another main aspect, which is like kind of important to mention, are conversations that I've had with people from the industry and outside as well. I've not been lucky to have like good mentors, like directly telling me things. It's always people I meet at work, people I meet in some occasion at some events, and you talk about things, you learn so much. I used to not also listen to good podcasts. I didn't even know what podcasts were that time.
But I
But
think
like
there
having
were
conversations with people.
yeah. Sorry, I was saying there were no podcasts that
Yes,
time. I mean, the kind of access to information that we had was very limited,
exactly.
honestly. So,
It was quite limited. It was quite limited. Although there were like podcasts like that that started off, but yeah, like just getting in touch with like for example, like I'm sorry to embarrass you, but people like
no.
you have been quite instrumental. Like we've had some great interaction. I think
Yeah,
when I mentioned the highs and lows, and like when we were working for the organization, it was a big learning experience for me. But also a part was where I met you, and we had a common interest for Liverpool Football Club. And I remember at that time it was Jurgen Klopp was just hired,
it just
and
started.
we
Yeah.
were both super excited and we were buzzing. And every week we would have like long conversations about it. And I would see you. I think that was also kind of the foundation of Sports Nexus when you were already start building up your website and
That's true.
having this. So just learning from people like you, from people in the industry, having conversations that led me here. There were also conversations with individuals who weren't as optimistic and supportive as you. There were people who, and the industry is like that, like where people didn't really encourage me to take this step. But like let's keep it positive. I think when we spoke about this, and when I was selected, and I had second thoughts to go to Switzerland. But you were like, no, you should go. If you have the passion, you can do something. And you barely knew my skills, but you were quite encouraging. So I think the conversations, the whole journey, and just being at the right place at the right time kind of worked. And here I am in Switzerland.
That's a very interesting story. Yeah, that's a couple of things I didn't mention in our research, in our notes were your skill of writing. I don't know why
Yeah.
I forgot about that, but I think with whatever little bit of writing you've done, which has got you here, I think your content was really good. It was very interesting. I always had some problem with the name that you had, but anyways, it doesn't matter anymore.
It was called the bathroom writer.
Yes, yes. The bathroom right. Yeah. But I think it's your journey has been magnificent, man. I think I generally don't tend to give advice to people about what they should do unless they come to me and ask me. But whatever little bit of work I did with you, and I just thought you had that spark in you to do something in sports, because I could see that in you, and it was just a gut instinct, honestly. But I mean, at the end of the day, it all worked very well for you, and I'm glad I'm talking to you today, not as a Liverpool fan or a friend of mine, but someone who works at the ISU, who's I mean, see, when people speak about sports management, the first thing they think about is football, cricket, those kind of things. But someone working at ISU, I think I'd never imagined,
Yeah.
any Indian being there, leave alone you being there as a friend. But yeah, I think your journey has been really fantastic. Sometimes you have to take the risks, and they pay off, and that's what you've done is a great example of that. So yeah, I think congratulations on your journey. You've done a brilliant, brilliant job, and I'm sure you'll be there for a very, very long time and grow from here. But and when I did my research on you on especially about ISU, I came across a few interesting facts about ISU's beginnings. So can you tell us a bit about ISU, how it started, where's the headquarters, what is the management structure like, and more of
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, first of all, like regarding your comment about like people from the subcontinent, people from Asian heritage, and winter sports. It's true. There's not much representation in the winter sports industry, like not even ice skating. But for example, luge or skiing or ice hockey, there isn't much. And I can tell you this because I've been at the Winter Olympics in Beijing, and I could see very few brown faces out there. But yeah, it's been interesting for me as well. Like, of course, growing in Mumbai, uh, knowing that ice skating existed, but not how we weren't exposed to that so much.
True.
But yeah, after coming to Switzerland and then like interacting with the people here, and then eventually being hired by the ISU, it's an interesting sport, and it's really growing, one of the top winter sport programs in the world. So the ISU was founded somewhere, I think, in 1892 in Netherlands, and the headquarters is in Lausanne. It's one of the oldest governing winter federation. So it governs the sport of ice skating, which is like short track speed skating, figure skating. So under figure skating, you have like singles and pairs, you have ice dance, and you have synchronized skating. So all these disciplines, except synchronized skating, are in the Winter Olympics program. There are currently 101 members in 80 countries. So a lot of countries are part of the ISU, and especially of lately, there have been a lot of countries, like tropical countries, like countries not known for winter sports, Middle East, Southeast Asia. So there are a lot of countries that are joining in. So it is quite interesting. And with regards to the structure, so we have the ISU president. So it's also worth knowing that it's the first Asian president ever. So it's
Oh,
Mr.
interesting.
Jae Kim, who was recently elected the ISU president. He's a South Korean individual who used to also work at the ISU, who used to work with the Korean Skating Union before. And then we have two vice presidents for two of the main branches of ice skating, which is figure skating and speed skating. Then you have technical committee members going down. You have the development commission. Then we have different commissions, not in the HQ, but situated all over the world. So you have the disciplinary commission for disciplinary cases. You have the legal commission for legal stuff. You have the athletes commission. You have the medical commission. And then you have the secretariat staff, which is in the headquarters. So we are around 24 of us, led by our director general, Freddie. And we have different departments like development department. We have accounts and finance. We have the sports departments that organize the competitions which happen weekly, like, because we have short track and speed skating, and we also have figure skating. So we have speed skating department and the figure skating department that organize the competitions with the national federations and the other organizers. Then we have a marketing team, and also media communication and the anti-doping department. So this is the HQ structure, and then you have other commissions in different countries that meet regularly, or we have Zoom now, and who do their own functions. So this is how the structure of the ISU is.
Oh, that's interesting. So all these functions that you mentioned, like the marketing and all of that, is that all in Switzerland where you are right now?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that all happens in Switzerland, but you also mentioned, of course, there are member nations, and if it's one of the oldest governing bodies in sports, which is associated with the Olympics as well, I'm sure
Yeah.
it must be having a massive reach with what you just said about the Middle East
Yeah.
and all of that. So with that said, I think what I wanted to ask you is probably a bit naive, but I assume India is a member of the ISU as well.
Yes. India has been a member since 2003. The
Okay.
Indian Federation is called the Ice Skating Association of India, and the current president is Mr. Amitabh Sharma, who's a person from Manali. And India has been a member for quite a long time now.
Oh, that's really interesting. Good to know. I think in the next few sections of our podcast. I'm sure we'll speak a little more about India. I really want to know more about what you guys do in India and generally the whole management setup in India and how India actually functions. So before we get there, just wanted to go back a little bit and also talk to you a little bit about your role at ISU. So when I did a little bit of reading up on you and after speaking to you, your title does mention anti-doping and ice skating, World Ice Skating Day coordinator. So let's speak about the first part, which is the anti-doping. So what is it that you exactly do in that role?
Yeah, I'll just give you a little bit of context with how I started off at the ISU in the anti-doping department. So when I left India after like having 4-5 years experience in the legal industry, I did this master course in Switzerland, and that's when I realized that of course, like as I mentioned before, in terms of the European setup of things, it's always difficult to find where you can transition into. Of course, if you have a certain amount of skill set and experience in education, you can gravitate towards a field that is closer to you. But for me, I felt as a legal background and a little bit of communications, maybe I could start off with somewhere in compliance and not really jump into, let's say, marketing or sponsorship. So I was doing a research on doping in esports as part of my university preps. And that's where I met a lot of people in the anti-doping world, a lot of anti-doping and science experts from different federations and organizations. And whilst I was doing this research, I learned a lot about how the doping setup is. And with my legal skills as well, I thought that this could be some place where I could transition or gravitate towards. And that's when there was an opening at the ISU's anti-doping department for someone with education. So they wanted someone to come and help with the education functions. That's what the ISU has their own clean sport program called as Pure as Ice. So they wanted someone to help with revamping the existing e-learning programs, do some fun initiatives for the athletes because I mean, being in sport, we all know that doping and anti-doping are really boring topics. So they wanted someone to bring in a fun element, to use social media, to have some kind of quizzes and workshops at the events. So they wanted someone like that. So I interviewed and they were a bit hesitant initially, but they thought that I check in a lot of boxes and it could be I really remember my boss saying that I was an out of the box selection because of what I could bring, and I could also help with the due diligence and the WADA compliance audits because of my legal
background,
GDPR knowledge.
Yeah.
So I started off as an intern in the anti-doping department, helping them with the education. So my main function was to revamp and improve the existing education setup, which is the Pure as Ice program, the e-learning. And then there would be certain events, like I told you, we have short track, we have figure skating, we have speed skating. So we have these World Cups or European Championships, we have the Grand Prix. So I would be going to some events and conducting an outreach booth, so the Pure as Ice outreach, where we would make some quizzes, we would talk to the skaters, we would do a seminar, very lighthearted, very towards the fun element, so that because it's always they athletes don't really they don't really find this a sexy topic. So but then we would have some goodies, we would have some covers for their blades, for the skate blades. So we would have those blade covers, and if they could come to our booth, do a quiz, do a Kahoot, and we would have it in different languages. So they would learn a little bit, they would compete with their team members, and then they would have the incentive of winning something. So I was doing that. So I would go to different events with my big bags of the goodies and the simple booth. So we would have like a selfie stand. I would carry the selfie stick to all the different competitions until the pandemic hit. So this was my role, and it's been quite interesting. My boss, who's also had a great experience working in this field for a very long time, and she gives me a lot of creative license, because even she's very receptive towards like new technology and new ways and new methods to reel in the athletes, and to ensure that the message goes that an athlete's first experience with doping shouldn't be a texting, but it should be through education. So
Oh,
that's our motto.
well, that's a very interesting and a fun way to introduce people to what anti-doping, especially the athletes who participate in the sports that you all organize. So yes, it's very interesting. I've, like you rightly said, like it's a topic that is very controversial, and not many people want to go deep into it to understand it. But with everything you mentioned, how you did it, is really interesting indeed, out of the box. So a good choice, I must say. So yeah, I think that is really really insightful in terms of how you guys conduct your anti-doping messaging and educational outreach. So I mean, with anti-doping as a part of your role, the second part of your role also mentions a bit about our World Ice Skating Day. That's, I think, whatever you've spoken to me about it, and the efforts that you've put into in you guys as a team to make that happen is really interesting. So can you tell me a little bit more about what this World Ice Skating Day is all about, and what are what is the concept? Why are you guys doing this, and why is it so important to the ISU?
Excellent. So, again, I'll have to give you a little bit of context before I I mention about the concept and the vision behind the World Ice Skating
Sure.
Day.
Yeah.
So, whilst I was doing my internship, and my internship, of course, turned into a full-time gig. But at that time, the Director General had, in my interview, he mentioned about this initiative that the ISU plans to have, called the World Skating Day at that time. And it was also a decision by the ISU Council, who make important decisions for the sport, which comprises of the people that I mentioned to you, the vice presidents, the presidents, the director general, the legal, medical, athlete commission, and all of those. So they always wanted to have one day for ice skating, like the World Ice Skating Day, or World Skating Day, which was what it was called back then. The goal behind this was to first of all dedicate a day for our sport, and secondly, we could there were also a lot of observations that with the advancement of modern technology, esports, gaming, OTT platforms, a lot of the youngsters and youth were slightly drifting away from traditional sports. Not only our sport, but I would say any traditional sport, and which is fine. Like we have nothing against esports and gaming. It's just how the world is working right now. So we also wanted to have some kind of element that is a fun, that needs sports and entertainment. So we wanted to make a day where everyone can come. Like it's not only for the professional or like the competitive skaters, but also for people to take up skating for the first time. So that was the idea behind this, and I was given the task of just doing a feasibility study, and I had to benchmark a similar initiative by our friends from the Ski Federation. So FIS, they have their own initiative called the World Snow Day, and they've been doing this since 2010, and even they had similar issues with not many kids going into ski resorts and not many kids taking up skiing. And they had some good success with that. So I benchmarked that, and we thought that, with ice skating, this can be done at a grander scale, because compared to skiing, like skiing, of course, you need natural ice, like you can have artificial ice as well. But I would say it's difficult to get those resources and to get those infrastructure set up.
Right. Yeah.
But with ice skating, you can have a skating rink in a tropical country as well, because it's covered, it's inside. So the feasibility of doing it seems much more easier. And while I was doing my research, I could see that a lot of countries not really known for ice skating have the Ice Skating Federation. They have few rinks, but they don't know how to scale the sport. Like because they don't have an ice skating competition or an ISU event happening in their countries, or they don't have skaters who reach the Olympics. So it's
Right.
always so that's they don't the scale the opportunity to scale the sport was not there. So I identified this and I highlighted this, that a lot of countries need this, like an ISU initiative happening there, which can really in the local community, kids trying out skating for the first time and liking it, coming back to the rings, coming back to the federation, and then that way there is some kind of a buzz happening. So of course we don't the idea is not to create Olympians everywhere or to just conduct like a factory of skaters, but it's to have some kind of movement happening in different countries.
Right.
So that is the idea behind World Ice Skating Day. One day dedicated to ice skating all over the world, irrespective of your level, whether you're a professional or a recreational skater or an amateur skater, or you've never tried skating before, you're a beginner, or you were a retired skater. Age doesn't matter. The levels don't matter. So the idea is to have the community come in at the local ice rink and celebrate a global event. So that is the genesis of the World Ice Skating Day. So which took a couple of years, and the pandemic came at the time. So when the pandemic hit, of course, there were doubts whether we will have this ever. So of course, at those times, so it was impossible. It was out of the question to even conduct something like that. But it gave me time to have the works, to set up a website, to have the whole branding language, to speak to different countries, speak to different stakeholders, get my research in order, and learn more about the sport. So that helped me. The pandemic years actually helped lay the foundations. And at the recently conducted Congress, at the ISU Congress in Phuket, where we had the new president and the new council members and everyone. So that's where I launched the World Ice Skating Day. I did a presentation. I had a booth for the whole week. So of course, the initial observations that we had was also received well, because a lot of countries, smaller winter sport countries, were very excited and delighted to have something of the ISU to be part of in their countries, and everyone was very happy, and they were all looking forward to it. And so just to give an extension of the answer is also we have more than 30 countries participating in the first edition.
Oh, wow. That's amazing, man. 30 countries in the first edition sounds really good. And I think what's really interesting is, what you mentioned, that the difference between skiing and what you guys do is that, it's artificial rinks where people can easily come in and, participate in the game. So I think that would also, would I be right in assuming that a lot of countries who are not predominantly known for skiing and, ice skating related categories of sports, who not necessarily participate in that, would I be right in assuming there would be a participation from those countries and those 30 nations who are coming together for the first World Ice Skating Day?
Yes. So the countries that are not really known for winter sports, but they do have kind of like an interest. They may not have an Olympic sized rink, but they have these small rinks. They have small like rings that are open up during Christmas, during Christmas markets and all.
Yeah.
So there is some kind of there is a federation there. And there are people who are very passionate about the sport, who've been following the sport closely over the years, and who want to set it up, because talent is everywhere. We know that in sport, but then the way to scale it is missing. So it's interesting to know that a lot of countries, of course, I mentioned India, but also Taipei, Peru, Chile, Brazil, a lot of these countries, even South Africa, are part of the World Ice Skating Day, and everyone's really excited to do this.
Oh wow, that's really good to know. You mentioned India, so I think this is a good segue for us to get into India. Yeah. But before we get into that, I think what happens. I'd just like to understand a little bit more about what happens on that day.
Sorry, I spoke all over it, but I didn't tell you what happens.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So the day itself is going to be on December 4th. So the idea is to have this day celebrated at the same time all over the world. So December 4th, the first Sunday of December, and going forward, every first Sunday of December is going to be the World Ice Skating Day. So it's
Okay.
an annual event. So irrespective of where you are, there will be a nice World Ice Skating Day happening. So what happens during the day is like we don't set like really strict rules to what the rinks would do. For us, we give them ideas. So the idea is to the main focus is to get kids on the ice.
Okay.
So especially beginners and first timers, we would like to get them on the ice to do an initiation. So a free initiation session for the kids. That is one of the things that we are looking at, so that at least the kids can try this out, and if they like it, they enjoy it. It just goes better that way. But that is one of the main aspects, of course. So what they have to do is they have to register on our website, and we check the organization who's hosting it. We also check with the national federations. If it's not a national federation, if it's a club from that country, we inform the national federations also about a particular interest from their country, and then we give them the rights to host the World Ice Skating Day. The rights are given for free. We give them a branding toolkit also for free. So that's something that we support. And there is a small part of the budget that we also provide to countries that are in need, like, who don't really own the rinks, who have to rely on like external partners for rinks or for coaches. So we give them a small, it's not a huge budget, but we give them something substantial that will help them cover some of the costs related to World Ice Skating Day. So what will happen on the day is people come to the ice. The entire community comes on the ice. They will do a free initiation for the kids. Some countries are doing like free for the entire day for anyone.
Oh, wow.
So coaches will give them a free initiation. Then coaches would also, like some countries are also doing more than that for mid-level skaters, like semi-professional skaters, by giving them sessions on like skills development, injury prevention, nutrition, and so on. Then there would be a public skating hour. Most of the countries have this a public skating hour where the entire family goes on the rink, and then there's music, there's DJ, there's food trucks outside. So it's a fun Sunday for the entire family. How they want to do it creatively is up to them. We've given them the creative license. They can talk to their local sponsors. They can bring in local suppliers and local partners to make the event more fun and colorful. What we ensure is that you provide something for the kids, and you ensure that you have our World Ice Skating Day branding. Other than that, we give them the rights for free.
Oh, that's really cool. So it's a bit of actually initiating young skaters, or someone who wants to get into skating or experience the sport. So there's that level of introduction to the sport, as well as a fun event where you can just come on ice, and there's the music and there's food, and just make a good day out of the World Ice Skating Day, which is really cool. So along with that, is there anything else that you're doing in terms of partnerships, tie-ups, or licensing or anything like that around this day?
So like I mentioned to you, like we launched it in June, and then we've had like a couple of months from there. So of course, our expectations weren't really high. We just wanted countries to participate and do the World Ice Skating Day. But then we made some noise in social media, through our press releases, through tying up with a global ambassador. So there is this skater called Elaj Palde. So he used to be a competitive figure skater. He's Russian and Guinean, and he was raised in Canada. So he's a really inspirational figure, being a BIPOC skater. He's seen it all. He's seen all the struggles. So we thought that he would be a great ambassador for the sport, because after retiring from the sport, he's used his successes, like his social media successes, to educate the people, to educate the stigma behind figure skating, where, let's be honest, a lot of like, if people who know would consider figure skating to be not really manly or masculine, but he's broken all those barriers because he uses hip hop and the style that he has, and he has a very unique style. And he was also bullied growing up as an ice skater, just for his choice of being a figure skater. But then he smashed through all those barriers. He used his hip hop elements, and so he's got a big fan following, and he's doing a lot for the community, for BIPOC skaters to get rid of these biases and to come on the ice. So he's making skating inclusive and diverse, which is also one of the main goals of the World Ice Skating Days, to make the sport inclusive, diverse, and accessible to all. So we partnered with him to be the global ambassador, where he'll be educating the crowd. He'll be using his platform to speak about the World Ice Skating Day and to get everyone on the ice. We've had some partnerships with ice rink operators. So there is this one ice rink operator in the UK called Planet Ice. We've signed an agreement with them, and they will be doing they own 15 rinks. They are the biggest ice rink operator in the UK, and they will be doing World Ice Skating Day, and they will be also involving the school kids. There's another really great partner that we have called the Inclusive Skating. So they are one of our institutional partners. So Inclusive Skating is an organization also based in the UK, which has programs, training, competitions for skaters with special needs. So
Okay, that's interesting.
she's the mother of a special needs skater, and she started this program. Her name is Margarita Sweeney. She had started this in 2010, and she's getting parents with kids with special needs to come to try skating, to learn in a safe and fun environment. So we want to make skating also more inclusive. So we partnered with them. We will be supporting their initiative. We will be helping them out, and so they are one of the institutional partners that we have, Inclusive Skating.
Well, that's really cool, man. I think those partnerships that you have with Planet Ice and with Margarita, I think those are really phenomenal, and it's good to know that the UK is so actively participating in this process. I'd definitely love to look out for what's happening in the UK since I'm here, and go and check out something if something's happening around London. So maybe later we can put out those details as an addition to this podcast that we're doing. But I think with what you said, I think the focus, I would really like to move my focus to India now. You did mention a bit about how the skating is skating as a sport in India is set up. So first of all, before we get into the World Ice Skating Day and what's happening in India, can you tell us a bit more about how this is structured in India as a sport association?
Yeah. So the International Skating Union gave recognition to the Indian Ice Skating Association. So it's called the Ice Skating Association of India. I think in 2003 they were an full ISU member. So how it's structured there? So they are based in the federation is based in Delhi.
Okay.
They conduct training, coaching, and competitions for skating in India. Like I mentioned, there is not an Olympic size rink in India, but there are several of these rinks in Delhi. There's an ice rink in Delhi. There's an ice rink in Mumbai at SL World, and there is also a mall rink in Kerala. And then there you have some natural ice rinks in Manali as well.
Of course,
So
yeah.
what happens is the Indian Federation, they have these little camps that they conduct in different places, and you have kids coming in, and then what they do is, if they identify the talent, they take the talent to some other countries and they do camps there with the infrastructure of those countries and help of the coaches from their countries as well.
Right.
So ice skating in India is started started since 2003, and we've had some ice skaters who've taken part in the international level as well. So we had Mr. Avdut Tavde, another gentleman from Mulund, from Mumbai. So what happens typically is, Nilesh, a lot of these skaters start with roller skating and inline skating. So they get good at a good level at that. But then because inline and roller are not in the Olympic program, they transition into ice skating because ice skating is in the
Interesting.
So then for them to, it could be easy to transition because it's kind of similar, but it's on the ice.
Yeah.
But then our skaters need more time on the ice. So a lot of them go abroad, set up camps there, and then try to train in those conditions. You have to acclimatize yourself. You have to be ready for the winter aspect of it as well. So this is how it works. So the Indian Federation has been doing this for quite some time, and the new president also has come some good initiatives.
Well, that's really cool because I think skating, roller skating, that is, roller skating and inline skating. I think everywhere you go in these gardens and all these public gardens, you started seeing these these rings, skating rings, mushroom now. So a lot of kids do go for roller skate training and inline skating training. So how can you get them to transition into ice skating in a place like, let's say, Mumbai? Okay, because see, Delhi and the North are the best examples where this sport can thrive, in my opinion. I may be wrong, but if you talk about a place like Mumbai, and I'm quite surprised to hear there's ice rink in Kerala. I mean, Kerala is good in every damn sport, man. They take so much interest in every sport. Ice skating probably was the last thing I ever imagined, with their love for football and athletics and all of that. But Kerala is Kerala, so they're the best in sports. But let's say in Mumbai, there are so many of these, when you go in the suburbs, the places where we come from, Mulund and all these places, Andheri, there are so many of these rinks, and they play rink hockey and all of those things happen, right? But how can these kids transition from what they're doing in terms of learning how to do inline skating to ice skating? Is there any bridge that the Indian Ice Skating Association have they built a program where they can scout talent and bring them onto a bigger platform? Is something that I would really like to understand.
Yes, definitely, because there is clear indication of successes from roller skating to speed skating, which is the ice skating version of it. Internationally as well, we had this young American skater, Erin Jackson. She was also a roller skater before, and then within a year of transitioning, she became the world champion. So there is, so it does happen. Of course, she is exceptional talent, and definitely there is also a lot of other examples which take some time, but they've also had good successes. So that's one way of going at it, where the inline and roller skaters who've achieved good recognition in India, who then move on to it. There is the Indian Ice Skating Association is also quite observant. They know what's there, and they work closely with the roller and inline skating federation as well. So they know where the talent is. So there is a scouting happening in these competitions as well. Now it's on the skater itself. If he or she wants to go take the next step, and and of course every sports person has this thing to be in the Olympics. So
indeed,
with inline and roller, it's until it's part of the Olympic program, they cannot. So if the skater is ambitious, has more is passionate about the sport, they are given this choice by the Indian Federation. And then they take over the development and the mechanisms. Of course, the finer details is by the Ice Skating Association of India, and I'm not much involved in that because I'm
that's fine.
The ISU. But this is how it works with the transitioning part. And then you have camps in different places where there is these little mall rings, and then they take them abroad and the ISU Development Commission also helps with some sort of funding as well to different programs in different countries, like in terms of scholarships, which gives them some resources to go abroad in Utah, in Netherlands, in even Philippines, and have these exchange programs like arc skaters going there and getting exposed to other rings and like little tournaments there, and getting more experience. So there is the way, but at the end of the day, it's also on the athlete. If the athlete is ambitious to make the switch.
Right, and you reckon the World Ice Skating Day initiative that you guys are planning, that could be a starting point to that?
It could be, it definitely is. And the good thing about it is the Ice Skating Association of India, under the new president, Mr. Amitabh Sharma, and like I mentioned, Mr. Avdut Taude, who's the director of training, they are taking it pretty seriously. It also comes down to the love of sport, Nilesh. You know it,
Yes.
They are really passionate about it, and like when I speak to them, it's amazing how much talent we have in our country. It's just like you get goosebumps just listening to people who other than cricket and football, maybe tennis, kabaddi, but just talking the struggles that they go through while they were athletes, and then when they've transitioned into the management side of things, like how much passion they have to see it out, to see what they didn't achieve during their athletic days, to ensure that at least our kids will go at a good level. They will have the infrastructure, they will have the right amount of coaching and mentorship. So they want to use World Ice Skating Day as a springboard to start ice skating and the ice skating culture. And they are keeping it in Manali. It's a place called Manali in Sisu. So they are inviting all the regional associations. So every state has their own state association.
Okay.
So all the regional associations, all the skaters, including their family and parents, to come to the camp on December 2nd or 3rd. So December 4th is the World Ice Skating Day. But then 1-2 days before, they will have a camp. They will have some, I think, competition or something. They will have some presentation. Then they will have like a board meeting with all the regional associations, and then they will have meetings with the families, the parents.
Right.
And so that, everyone's involved, everyone's on board, and like everyone feels part of something cool. So this is their idea, to use the World Ice Skating Day and to, better their communication. Of course, when we see countries smaller than ours, from a tropical nature, doing well in ice skating, so it feels like, okay, we should also be there. So there is a lot of talk going on, and the president has some ambitious plans to get the infrastructure and of course to get the ball rolling. So this is what is happening in India, and I'm very excited that being an Indian, being part of this project, I'm happy that my country is also taking part, and also taking part in a very very passionate manner.
Yeah, it does come across as a grand level planning, because getting inviting not just the athletes but the families to Manali. I think logistically we both know how difficult it is, given the way India is from a geographical terrain perspective. But it's really interesting that this World Ice Skating Day could be a good springboard for future skaters in India. And I completely wholeheartedly agree with you when you spoke about the hardships that we have faced to participate in sports, but we can't. So we are on the other side of the table, where we are trying to make a difference. You in your own way, me in my own way, connecting fans to football clubs and baseball and all these things that we do. It's really interesting, and it's for the future, of course. But talking about the future and going beyond the World Ice Skating Day in India, does the ISU have any particular plans to develop the sport in India?
Yes. So, like I mentioned, we have a development commission, the ISU Development Commission, that conducts different sorts of projects, not only in like countries like India, but like in many other countries, So there was a development program to support figure skating quite recently. I think it was in August when it happened in Manila in Philippines, where 18 participants from India went there and did like a figure skating project. So I mentioned to you Mr. Avadut Tavde as well, who was an Indian, first Indian short track skater. So he was also awarded an ISU coach scholarship. I think it was about USD 10,000 in 2020. And two short track skaters were also awarded ISU junior skater scholarships. So they have a lot of project applications in 2022. The Development Commission works closely with this. They know ISU itself recognizes India as a giant in general sports, but they also know that if once the ball starts ticking, like once the ball starts rolling, in ice skating, there will be a good it will be like a whole a wave of more initiatives happening in India. So the problem, I would say, would be also infrastructure, which they are trying to fix. They're trying to get more infrastructure, more programs. But definitely the ISU Development Commission, they're doing a good job and getting skating in many countries, the Middle East, South Africa, small Asian countries, South American countries. So there has been quite a lot of involvement from the ISU Development Commission wholeheartedly to the countries like India and others.
That's good to know. I think, again, your sport is such a niche sport. And it's
Exactly.
sort of labeled as only European countries can do well, and a few exceptions of of Japan, China, South Korea, who have natural ice as well as that's what leads to the development of your sport. 100%. Otherwise, it just remains as a recreation as it is in
Correct.
India right now. Right. I think, I personally enjoy skating on ice. It's fun. And I'm looking forward to the December rinks that have started opening up now. But I think it's for developing a sport like you guys do. I think I can imagine it's a lot of hard work, especially for so many member nations, and with every support that you provide to countries like India and other countries, it's that just brings me to one question, which is my last question to you about how does ISU actually sustain so many nations, in terms of supporting them financially, or running the sport all over the world. How do you guys do it? Like, do you work with agencies for marketing, or there is money coming in through events? So if you're open to discussing that, it'll be good to know a little bit about that side of your business too.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's a good valid question about it. I can answer in whatever limited way I
Certainly,
have.
Yeah.
So, I mean, basically, we get there is a set budget from the IOC. We get contributions from the IOC, being an IOC, the International Olympic Committee member.
Yeah.
We get those. Then there is also, like you mentioned, marketing and sponsorship revenues that we also get, and also there's media rights. So media rights, like sale of media rights and distributions and broadcasting rights. So those kind of things is how we sustain over the period of time. And every year we have competitions. So like almost every week there is something happening in the ISU world, be it short track, be it speed skating, be it figure, synchronized. So there's always like European championships, then World Cups, then Junior World Cups, then 4 continent championships, then the Grand Prix. So there is all these competitions. So there is revenue. Of course, I wouldn't compare ourselves to FIFA or Formula One or these
no, of course
of
not.
organizations. Yeah. But there is. And also, of course, not to forget, the pandemic also was a difficult time for us because we had a lot of our competitions cancelled, of course, with good reason because of the health concerns. and sponsors pulling out. So it wasn't that easy that period, but we want to bounce back. We've had good amount of like dividends and contributions that we've sustained over the years, and good amount of assets from the ISU. So yes, there is there is strength in helping other countries, sustaining many countries, but also we look forward to get more stronger together in the future. And there is also a lot of scope of improvement and a lot of scope of development. Like you mentioned about, like, it's such a niche sport. Like, with football, you just need a ball. Sometimes you don't even need shoes, and you just go and you start playing, and then
Kicking
you have
about, yeah.
stories like Sadio Mane, and who from where they were to where they are now. It's amazing how football can be reached. But with skating, you need to have a skating rink
Rink, yeah.
near your area. You need to have the right skates. You need to have the gears to wear. So there is so much. It's not that easy. It's really not that easy.
True that, yeah.
But we're trying little, like, with the World Ice Skating Day. Firstly, provide them with some kind of seed money to start something in these small countries, and to get the people come in, get the kids, like, even if that amount may not be maybe substantially nothing for bigger countries, but it could be something for a smaller country. So at least it could cover the cost for, like, the ice time, or for renting of the skates, or for the coaches, and then kids come and try, and then you can just find some diamonds in the rough, and something can happen. So we are trying at a very small stage to make skating more accessible through the World Ice Skating Day. Where it goes, it will be interesting to see the journey from now. We've had good participation in the first edition itself, and sky's the limit. We only want to get better every year. And of course, with whatever we get, whatever resources that we get in, and whatever, let's say, if we make some profits out of it, we'll go back to developing the sport, because it's completely a developmental project. So we would want to help countries, we would want to help regions, and we would want skating to be more accessible. Obviously, it cannot be compared to football, but at least we will try to ensure that people have some kind of access to the sport. So that is the idea.
That's very positive, Ashley. I think it's a very positive note to end our conversation on. I really wish you and all your colleagues, all the best for the event. It's a very you mentioned other associations do that as well. I've not come across anything like that, but this is something, what you guys are doing is something I definitely keep an eye out on, and love to contribute to your success by talking about you guys, writing about you guys, and about you in person. So yeah, I think all the best. I'm sure this will be a huge success, and it'll continue for years to come, and hopefully transfer into seeing some of our Indian future skaters out there on the track racing against the best. But I think with that said, Ashley, I really want to thank you for your time, for giving us time on a Sunday to talk about your journey, about ISU and your India focus. If the sports business community wants to get in touch with you, how can they contact you is something that our listeners would like to know.
Okay, so you can contact me through my LinkedIn profile. I think I will give you my link. It's Ashley Arthingal. Or I can give you my email ID as well. So maybe we can mention that in the caption. Do check out the World. Sorry, I'm making a plug, Nilesh, but do check out the World Ice Skating. So do check out the worldiceskatingday.com to see where an event is happening close to you. We have an event locator section on the website, and you can just find if something is happening in your country. We have some cool stuff happening on social media. So the social media is also called World Ice Skating Day, which is focusing on, of course, the World Ice Skating Day and what all different countries are doing, and our partnerships, and just many more fun and festivities in that. If you want to also check out the competitive side of our sport, so there is 2 social media handles, ISU Figure Skating and ISU Speed Skating. So you will see all the information, what's happening in the skating world in that. And I didn't mention this, Nilesh, but I think it is very important to mention, like, the my gratitude towards my colleagues, my boss, and our director general, because they've given me this opportunity. They took a chance on me, and it's still going on. So I hope I don't let them down. but I've learned so much from them, and everyone's like, and like, that's the thing about, like, let's say, for small federations, like, everyone's doing so much. Like, when you have 24 people doing multiple projects all over the world with the competition side of things, so it's really difficult to just give time to a project like mine. But everyone's been really, really patient with me over the years, over the months. And so I really like to thank all my colleagues as well, and my boss as well, to take time off anti-doping activities, and to do the World Ice Skating Day. So that's just a big thank you for everyone, if they would be listening to this. I hope they will.
I hope they listen to it as well. But I think, Ashley, there's one thing about taking a chance, and the other thing about gut instinct. So I think, I mean, if I can speak on their behalf, I think the gut instinct about you has shown the right results so far. And with everything that you've done over the pandemic period, and researched, and speaking to stakeholders, I think all the right steps have been taken. So I don't see why the World Ice Skating Day won't be a huge hit. I'm sure it'll be a huge hit. I think you guys have done a great job. And as far as thanking your team goes, I think that is quite valid. I think, like I said, just to reiterate the fact that it's very hard for us to be seen in places like the ISU and other sports associations. So I really respect and appreciate all the hard work you've put in to get where you are. And I'm hoping and praying that things get better for you. As in, you grow more and more into this, into ISU, and just keep in mind, our origins, where we come from, and trying to help, future skaters from India. So I think, with that said, it was actually my second question to you, in terms of, can you let the listeners know where they can listen, or get more information about ISU? You've done that on your own. That's really great. Yeah.
Jump the gun when I saw it.
No. But it makes sense. I think, people should know about ISU and everything that you all are doing, not just from a World Ice Skating Day perspective, but generally in terms of, all the efforts you guys are putting in to popularize or to promote the sport so much all over the world. So I think, with that said, Ash, thank you so much for your time. I think it was lovely talking to you. I mean, we both have been talking to each other, but we've never spoken so much in detail about what you do. So it was really lovely to know what you do, what you intend to do, and your journey is something that I will be tracking, and I'll keep talking to you. And once again, thank you very much for your time, and all the best to everything that you're doing with World Skating Day, Ice Skating Day, and anti-doping when you get back to it. So good luck, do well, and thank you once again for taking time out and speaking to us.
Thank you so much, Niels. And we've spoken, like, with bits and parts over the years since I left India. And I remember when you came to my place before I was going to Switzerland, before I was leaving.
Yeah.
You met my family, and my dad was very excited to meet you, because I've always spoken a lot about you. And he is more of an avid listener to sports business updates on Spotify. So he listens to every episode of yours, and he would be. I've not told him yet that I'm going to be part of this podcast. So let's
surprise him. Yeah, let's surprise him.
It will be a good surprise for him. But it's been great to talk to you, man. And I always knew that, and I could see it when we were working in XC together, that the foundations were being laid then. And like little thing, when you were also working with Shubro with the website, and we were also learning aspects from him. So that I kind of got that in me, seeing you go out of your comfort space of marketing and sponsorship to learning the technical elements as well. And that's so important to grow your skills every time. So I've seen that when I was reviewing my agreements, but I was to always see how you were also trying to learn these little things. So yeah, it's the same for me. I try to implement that in my daily life. So it's always a pleasure to talk to you, Niels. I'm always left with a big smile. So, but since we are so close to each other, I would really like to meet you as well very soon.
Yeah,
And
certainly.
that'll be amazing, and we'll have more amazing conversations.
Certainly, man. I mean, I'd really love to come and meet you, your team. Hopefully, if they listen to the podcast and they like me, I'll definitely be there. But seriously, thanks a lot. And I promise I'll keep a lookout on what's going on and visit your website and figure out what's happening in London and be a part of the grand celebration that you all have planned. So. I'll send you some pictures from what's happening in London for sure. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
All right, Ash. Thank you so much. Have a great day and a great week ahead.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Take care.